through the process of making maybe one of the simplest DIY projects, which is a charcuterie board. But any beginner in the DIY world, if you're wanting to start maybe a super simple project that comes off so great and so beautiful, and it's like just a work of art. I started this process, my first DIY project, I was making cabinet doors, but I came across making charcuterie boards a couple years ago, and I was like, you know, this is so simple and so easy. You can use a multitude of tools. You can use, got a miter saw, great. If you don't, if you've got a table saw, great. If you've just got a skill saw, that will work too. I think, you know, the only thing is making sure that your edges are straight, so that you, when you glue those boards up together, they'll glue up really nice and tight and secure. So if you're new to the DIY world, the woodworking world, you're wanting to do something super simple, but kind of like impressive, this is the place to be. So join me and we're going to walk through every step of doing a charcuterie board. I went to the lumberyard yesterday and I picked up some hardwood that is not super porous. I'm going to be using walnut, mahogany, white oak, and then this one is hickory. So I might throw in a little bit of maple as well. I'm going to cut each of these boards to 32 inches, and then I'm going to rip them down into maybe 1.5 inch pieces, and then we'll glue those up together. We're going to go over to the miter saw and we're going to start doing our measurements of 32 inches, and then we are going to rip them down. So let's get started. I've got my first piece of wood, measure it down to my 32 inches right here. So I always want to make sure that when I am measuring and cutting on a miter saw, this is my distance of 32 inches right here. If I place the board on this side, that's going to take 1/8 of an inch-ish off, maybe about 1/16 of an inch off of my board length. So I always want to make sure wherever I'm marking, I need to cut on the other side. So my saw will be on the other side of that mark. I'm bringing my saw down to see where my placement is. I'm going to hug it tight against the fence here. And I'm going to start my miter saw up here before I bring it down. With any saw, especially a miter saw or a track saw, it's always best to take the cut in phases. So when I'm cutting, I don't want to just go straight through it. You're going to start getting some shredding of your wood. So if you can do it a few runs, a few passes, then it'll keep the wood from chipping away. This is the white oak. Quick hack, instead of measuring each piece, I just take the original board I cut and I line it up, hold it tight, and push it up against the saw so the cut will be the same. Okay, we've got our mahogany. Okay, and now we have the walnut. Okay, I have plenty of maple lying around, so I'm just going to take a small stick of maple and cut that by itself. Okay, so what I have here, I just place all of these together so that I can get the general thickness of, you know, because I'm going to be cutting these down into smaller pieces. But what this gives me an idea of, I could probably get two charcuterie boards out of what I've cut here. So I am going to go ahead and start ripping them down. I'm not going to make them all the same, just to vary in sizes a little bit. I'm going to show you. I side. This is a board I haven't finished. It's all glued up. I still haven't. This was from last year and I never finished it. But I've got some pieces that are smaller and wider. So just to give it some variance in what we're doing here. So, okay. Okay, so I've got my pieces of wood here. Some of them are pretty rough sawn. So what I need to do is I need to straighten these edges out before I glue them together. So I'm going to run it through the table saw, especially before I cut them into my strips, and make sure that the guide can square it all up. Okay, so I'm continuing to cut here. I don't really have any rhyme or reason other than I'm trying to make for 2 boards. And I think I'm going to have this as the center. Yes, like on each side of each board I'll do something like this. Although I'm going to cut these into 2 pieces, so maybe I'll have 2 pieces sitting on either side of this, you know? Okay, I'm going to continue to cut these pieces. Okay, we're ready. I got all my pieces cut. So now I'm going to lay these on the ground. I'm going to pull my clamps out. And we're going to start lining them up and then start gluing. Okay. I guess you can watch me do this. You're welcome. What kind of Christmas song is this? I feel like I'm going to dance. So we just finished doing the glue up. It's sitting here on the floor. So what I'm going to do is probably wait a good 24 hours before I do anything with it. Because I'll run it through the planer and I want that bond to be really strong. So I want to give it a full 24 hours to cure, to set. And then we'll come back and we will route the edges, throw it through the planer, and it'll look spruced up. Then we'll put some oil on it, let it sit for another 24 hours before it's ready to actually use. Okay. Okay, so I know it's probably loud in here, but I've got the heater going. It is a perfect winter day for me. I am so happy today. I'm in my garage. I am doing what I love, and I am listening to Christmas music, and if you can see out my windows right now, it is snowing, that beautiful kind of snow that sticks to the branches. So now we're going to finish up this charcuterie board. I'm going to unclamp this, and then we're going to run it through the planer, and we're going to clean up these edges. This is not light either. Okay, so here we have this. You're going to see all of the glue that is on here. Can you see that? So, if I was a master at this, I would have cleaned all that up, but I didn't. So I've got some dried glue over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through the planer, and that's going to clean all this up. So let's do that, and then I'll show you a close-up of what this looks like. Now, if you don't have a planer, my best suggestion would be you get this glue. When you start clamping, clean this glue up as much as you possibly can, because it's not easy. You can get a chisel and chip it away as well, which I probably should try to do some of that, or a planer, like a handheld planer, or if you have an electric planer, you can run it across the top of it as well, which might be a smart idea so it doesn't dull your blades in your planer if you've got the if you have a planer. If you don't, it's totally fine. And then just sand it until it's smooth and beautiful. Okay, so let's get going. We're gonna pull this planer out, which weighs about, I don't know, it's heavy. Let's just say that. It's a whole person heavy. So I'm gonna drag that out. Remember, lift with your knees, not with your back. This is why I weightlift. Okay, I had to unplug the heater so I could use an extension cord, but you know what? We do what works here. Okay, laying out my trays, and we're gonna get the depth set. This right here adjusts the blades that are inside here. So it'll make this tray go up or come down. So I am going to set my board in here. And then I'm going to bring it down just where it just barely touches. I think we're set. We're going to watch this come through here. Really pretty natural wood color combination. So there's a couple things I'm going to have to do to it. One of the strips, and I think it was on the white oak, it was hollowed out a little bit here. It's a little weak right here. So I'm going to get some epoxy and I'm going to fill that in there. I'm going to fill the knot right here in with some epoxy. And then do some sanding. Yeah, we got the knot over here on this side too. So I'll fill that in with epoxy, get all this other stuff filled in, sand it down, and route the edges, so should be good. Yay! When piecing those boards together, if you see at the top, they're a little crooked. So I'm just going to give them a straight edge on this and on this side as well. Basically, I'm going to just find my shortest point and cut from there. Okay, so we got those nice and straight now. Just do a little bit of sanding. We had a little chip away, but that will be taken care of by the router. So it'll end up looking okay. So I've let this charcuterie board cure overnight. with this cutting board oil that I got from Home Depot. This is the Howard cutting board oil. So, not that this is like ideal, but I filled this up so that I could get it to kind of sit in the bath of the oil, so I can kind of soak it up as much as possible. I am just going to grab it out now and wipe it down as best I can, and then it is ready for delivery. I routed the edges at an angle because when I made my first charcuterie board, I just did it straight. I routed the edges to round them over a little, but what I find, and I should take it out and do it to it, but what I found is that it's hard to pick these up once they're like on the table. It's hard to pick them up. So then I started noticing that charcuterie boards have these edges so that you can stick your fingers underneath them and lift them up off the countertop. So both ends are routed like that, and then I kept the sides straight. But okay, so final touches for delivery. I'll probably go put a bow around this so I can give to the person that I'm going to give this to. So. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing, interested in learning more, don't forget to like and subscribe. If I can do it, so can you. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.